Hi, I'm Joan Newcomb, and today's Weekly Musings is Time and Space. I'm doing a series of weekly musings, and I'm using posts from my blog, Adventures in Density and Effort, as inspiration. Now, I wrote them a while ago, and the world has completely changed, and yet I'm finding the information still evergreen and very pertinent. At the very end, I will still summarize the topic based on all that's going on in the world today. Time and space. For the last couple months, I've been planning a trip to Europe. I told my mother years ago that I'd take her ashes to every place that she'd lived. As a geographer, the idea struck her fancy. It's been a multi-layered project. My husband and I are going to the countries she and my family lived in, and also visiting my son, who lives in Spain. I've had to find all the addresses of our old houses and figure out how to use public transport to get to them, and find accommodations that'll fit my husband, who's 6'6.5". Not too many places in Europe have king-size beds. This process started intellectually, but at some point shifted. As consciousness, we go to wherever we think about. You may notice how hard it is to pack to go on vacation because mentally you are already there. It's been disorienting working on this trip because I'll be in Madrid, Berlin, London, and Sweden all in one afternoon. And later on cooking dinner, I'll notice aspects of myself in all those places. I'm curious to see whether I'm previewing this trip, if I'll experience deja vus from this time now. My sleep patterns have been more disrupted than usual because part of me is 9 hours ahead. I'm tracking my son, who's anticipating our arrival, and I'll also tune into our Airbnb owners according to my inquiries. These things are happening now in real time, but I'll also get glimpses, feelings of other things not in the present moment. I'm sensing the Flygbuses from Skansa to Stockholm. I'm feeling bright daylight outside of the Hammersmith tube stop. I see my son crossing the streets in Zellendorf. Both my parents walked through my space. I only have my mother's ashes, but my father lived for travel and is actually overseeing this journey as well. And very unlike me, I've shared with my siblings what I'm doing. It sparked their memories of growing up in places before I was born or places after I left home, and also triggered their grief at our parents' passing. Through this process, the veils of time and space have become thinner and thinner. I've started to sense myself at different ages in the future. I think of what's happening to me isn't unique. I think we're all experiencing heightened sensitivity. We're collectively moving to a new level of evolution. How is it showing up in your storyline? What is different about your experience in life? What do you notice as you go about your day? I didn't title this Anchoring into Time and Space because if I did ground with my old technique, I would lose this multidimensional feeling. It would be like going back to black and white from color or dial-up from Wi-Fi. This body needs to be grounded, and as consciousness, I can anchor into my body, but something new is needed, or maybe my techniques just need to upgrade. Notice if you need something different. Maybe you need to change your form of meditation or exercise. Maybe you need to make up your own way of doing things. We've evolved to a greater level of awareness, which translates to a greater responsibility for being informed. That may look like taking more ownership of or authority over your life, or it may be having more permission to be creative. Think outside the box, do things differently. Acknowledge what you're noticing and validate yourself. You've come a long way. These are exciting times with great possibilities. What doors to parallel universes are you going to step through today? And if you're feeling any of these sensations of evolution, heightened sensitivity, greater deja vu, leave me a comment below because I love to read your comments. So here's the thing. On one level, I've actually distributed my mother's ashes to all the places we've lived in the world except 2 places in India, 1 place in Ottawa, Canada, which was really super close. There was no excuse not to take a weekend to fly up there. And then my mother wrote her master's in geography, her thesis on Tasmania in 1948, because she felt that if there was a nuclear war, that would be the safest place to be. So I still need to take my mother's ashes to all those places. Maybe this July, it would be great to be in Tasmania. I'm not an astrologer. I just know that right now we are experiencing astrologically the same transits that we had during the Revolutionary War, but also the Civil War. From my awareness, time is not a linear thing. It's more like lasagna. And so energies from these past experiences are sort of bubbling to the surface. You could also see them as popping out of the woodwork. And they're there are people running around as if it is 1938, 1939, 1941. So I'd have to say that it's really important to stay in the present moment and in present time with all this. And the other thing I was going to say is that my old technique was about grounding to the center of the earth, but my new technique now is to have a point of consciousness from within me to the center of the hologram. And when I collapse the wave between both those points, it brings me into a greater, lighter, brighter awareness. So if you like these videos, please share them with your family and friends and on your social media. And please click the heart button, the thumbs up button, please like or subscribe. And that way you're telling the algorithm to get this out far and wide and to someone who really needs to see this information. And if you'd like a free sample of one of my consciousness techniques, click on the link below to the skybox technique. It'll give you a drone's eye perspective of your life and everything going on in the world today. And if you'd like to learn how to do this for yourself, click on the link below to my self-study course, and you'll learn techniques for how to navigate your life as consciousness. And if you want to know more, my website is joan-newcomb.com, and there you can learn about my individual sessions and also my coaching program. So go to joan-newcomb.com, and I'll see you next week in another Weekly Musings.